Green flag back in the air. Brendan Maddox, Adam Buzzio, the whole field chomping at the bit. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. The Lucky Performance Overtime rules reminding you that if we get back around to the white flag, this race is official. Buzzio with a push from Dyer. Maddox with a push from Hughes. Zach, I think we're going to get there.
I think we will. Coming back around, Buzzio leads the group. Through the tri-oval we go. No caution. Sam Dyer looks to the outside. 3 wide for the race lead. White flag is in the air, presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. Sam Dyer is all by himself on the top line, Andrew. There is nothing that he can do. He's going to start dropping back, and Brendan Maddox is out in front by himself. I do not want to have a gap that big.
We'll see how this one works out. Maddox moves up, now moves down. That checks up the bottom side. Here comes Buzzio. Here comes Camper. Here comes Plord, all on the top side of the racetrack. Maddox now going to try and fight back on the bottom with a push from Buzzio's teammate. That's Hughes down low, and Hughes isn't pushing the lead. Now he gets there from a push from Mason Houseman to the stripe. It's going to be a drag race. Adam Buzzio, Dakota Camper. He's going to look down to the inside, and Camper is going to shove alongside of the 5. Dakota Camper, maybe, no. Buzzio's got to win this season.
Oh my goodness, what a finish.
Brett Suggs Racing Media Mystery Night finally takes us to the big O that is Oswego Speedway. Don't worry, it's not the dirt version, but it may as well have some rallycross jumps with how bumpy this racetrack is, making it very difficult to set up for on the fly. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Oswego, New York. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Lindgren alongside this evening, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Sim Auto Racing Association Pierce Fleet Service Super Series at Oswego Speedway. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by Pierce Fleet Service, by Brett Suggs Racing Media, and by all series partners. There are a plethora of them. We appreciate everything they do week in, week out to allow these broadcasts to take place. This is, of course, the Steel Palace. This is a really cool racetrack. You can see it a little bit in the B-roll happening now, Zach. I know you just bought the racetrack. Honestly, I don't know too much more about it than you do, though. I just know it's a slightly over half mile, about the same shape, or same size anyways, as North Wilkesboro Speedway, and it's just weirdly shaped. It's got a deeper, wider turn 1 and 3, a shallower, more narrow turns 2 and 4. This place, it's funky.
Well, and like you were saying, Andrew, yeah, I just bought it, but I've been riding on board with some of these guys as they come through their warm-ups just to kind of get an idea of what this track brings and what this track presents. And I kind of like the idea of having that very large entry into both 1 and 3. That's obviously the time where you're going to be on the throttle the longest. It might mess with you mentally. Maybe I can go a little deeper. Maybe I can use the outside a little bit more. Whatever it may be, it might mess with your mental a little bit. Then it narrows out in 2 and 4. With forcing the drivers to have to get right on top of each other, not really allowing any kind of funky business to be happening, so to say. But I mean, from a track that was converted from a horse racing track over to this pavement, like you said, have some dirt still ran on it, just motor vehicle dirt over actual horses. I feel like it kind of makes sense just because of how bumpy, how much character this track seems to have.
It is definitely got some character. This is a really odd little racetrack. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm glad we've got it here this evening for the SARA Super Series in this latest edition of Mystery Night in this series. It's been a lot of fun, this campaign, if you will, of Mystery Nights that Matt Rolfe has put on for this series. And again, this is a really cool addition to the lineup. We can take a look at the schedule here before we get going too much further into the evening. We'll take a look at points in a moment, but here you go. This is the full schedule for the full season. Granted, we still left the mystery races blank. I don't know, it just felt weird if we were going to put in 4 or 5 of them and not put in the 6th. It felt a little strange. So, left them all blank. But North Wilkesboro opened the season up. Mexico City then, right after. And Zach, that was not on the road course. That was on the Mexico City Oval way back on October 9th. That is a cool racetrack, too. So Mexico City Oval, Oswego, both in the same season. 2 really odd, flat little racetracks. The Mexico City Oval is a mile. This one is, I think 5/8 of a mile thereabouts. Then we went to the Bull Ring and Irwindale for the first 2 mystery nights. We were not present for Irwindale. That was the week that we were away. Then we came back for IRP. That's where Kyle Turzak won. Mystery race number 3, I do believe. Yes, that was Concord. Then it was Lanier to open up 2026. Mystery Race 4 took us to Iowa. Mystery Race 5 this evening has us at Oswego. Next up is New Smyrna. Then we go to Mystery Race number 6. Who knows where we're going for that one? Matt Rolfe is starting to get a little more creative for sure, getting Oswego on the schedule. And then Southern National caps off the season. And speaking of capping off the season, here's a look at the standings coming into this evening. Boy, there's a lot to digest. We will have power rankings in a moment, but McCullum, Cottle, Cabry, 7 points apart. That is the conversation for the championship. Everybody else is out of it at this point. It's those top 3 that we are watching. These final, 4 races, including tonight. It is going to be a very difficult 4 races for each of those 3. I think McCullum still has a leg up. He's fastest in practice right now. I believe he qualified first. It's Alex McCullum, an elite model. He's going to be hard to beat no matter what. But given the top 8 metric, Zach, that is how we shake this series up the most. That gives different drivers different track position. That might be what this race comes down to this evening. Only time will tell.
Yeah, only time will tell as we get closer and closer to that point. But like you're saying, 7 points separating the top 3 and 5 wins separating those, or not separating, but 5 wins combined for those 3 drivers is insane. Only 2 other drivers have been able to pop off 2 other wins from the races that they've ran so far. So a grand total of 7 races ran and 5 wins belong to 3 drivers is an absolute insane stat. Also, 7 points separating McCollum down to Cabri is insane. I mean, just being that close. Now it's crunch time. Every position counts. Every finish counts for Cottle and Cabri. It's going to be an intense battle to the end, at least for tonight, and maybe for the rest of the season. A very intense battle.
McCollum, Cottle, Cabri, those are the names you need to know. As we flip on over into the iRacing session here in just a moment, we are going to take a look first at your power rankings coming into the evening. And then we'll get down to some practice times in the final couple of minutes here of practice. Here they are. Bottom right of your screen, power rankings brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. By the way, a happy birthday recently to Joe Boyer, who helps us out with these. So happy birthday to him. But Alex McCollum leads the power rankings by a healthy margin. There is technically a score to go with it to sort these guys out, and you see that alongside their names. McCollum at a 69.1, so a nice margin over Josh Cottle already. Jacob Harbert's third. Kyle Turzak has slipped down to fourth lately. Cole Cabri just checking in there in fifth. He did move up from seventh, but it's just a lot of guys really excelling at the top, and then a lot of guys mixing things up behind. You see the lower scores. There's a lot of parity from about sixth on back.
Yeah, a lot of parity, 40, but I mean, still with a lot of parity being separated by only, 7 points from 6th down to 10th in the power rankings. That means these guys are very, very close. Obviously, you've got the guys up top with the Cottles, the McCollums, Harberts, Turzaks, Cabri, sure, whatever it may be, but these guys right on top of each other, 6th down to 10th. It just goes to show how close this field is for these guys and how every position, every point, every finish really matters to them.
Well, we do have a couple of drivers here that we don't typically have in the field, and let's go ahead and take a look at their cars first. One of them is going to be Chris Horton in the number 88. He is subbing in once again for Keith Jeffrey, who is still injured, so we certainly wish the best to Keith and hope that he can get back on the racetrack soon. We also have Josh Parrish out there this evening racing for Kyle Meyer. Not sure the circumstance for Kyle Meyer, but Parrish behind the wheel of that number 88 this evening. Also, a rare sighting of Brett Suggs out here in the series. Good to see him. This is, of course, though, Brett Suggs Racing Media Mystery Night. It would be a shame to have Brett miss his own sponsored race. So good to see Brett out there in car 33 this evening. To look around some more of the field, Tracy Petter is currently in the second spot here in warm-up or practice, whatever you want to call it, with Cameron Hamilton in the third position. And Cameron lately has not really been that alive, so it's very cool to see Cameron up in third here in this session. Hopefully that translates into the race. Kyle Eli in fifth, Colin Allman there in eighth. How about Justin Laxton in 11th in this session? Dante Curtis, Parker Traves, and a handful of others. The session should be advanced here in a moment. We'll see when Matt hits the magic button. There it is. So, Zach, we will wait just a moment before we take a look at weather conditions, but we will be doing that and then hitting our grid this evening along with Whiplash Simcams race details. So, weather conditions, once it settles out, let's see what we've got. Wait just a moment for the track temp to come back down. Yeah, there we go. That's a little more like it. 82 degrees in the air, 92 on track. So we just went from a really cold GT3 race at Spa moments ago, where the sim date was set to January 29th. Now we have a sim date of April 30th, and actually the track temp just shot up from 92 up to 109. That is a really warm track temp. There aren't many clouds in the sky. It is a mostly cloudy, but direct sunlight right now, Zach. It is roasting this asphalt.
Yeah, roasting this asphalt, and then we're going to put a lot of cars that are going to put even more heat down into the asphalt. It's going to heat up quick. We've seen how bumpy this track is, so we're going to put a slick, we're going to pair that with the slick track, hot tires, I mean, to be looking for a lot of cars getting loose out of the corner. We've already saw that in a lot of the warm-up, maybe even in some of the qualifying as we get gridded up here. So just stay on the lookout for a lot of slipping cars, a lot of loose race cars around this track.
Cars are on the grid. Let's take a look at your ATVO starting grid this evening. Jacob Harberts, well, he was fastest qualifier. I need to remind myself of that. He was fastest qualifier tonight. The top 8 will get reordered as per usual. We'll cover that in a moment. But Harbert's fastest qualifier, Alex McCullum second fastest. How about Kyle Terzak third quick, Cole Cabry fourth quick, Tracy Petter, Josh Cottle, Joel Smith, and Mitch Drunowski, your top 8 qualifiers. They will each get reordered. Kendall Tucker, Cameron Hamilton will complete your top 10.
Just behind the top 10, Chris Horton, Parker Traves will be starting 11th and 12th behind this whole shuffle. Matt Rolfe and Josh Parrish will be starting 13th, 14th. Brett Suggs, Trevor Edwards, 15th, 16th. Kyle Eli and Spencer Dickinson, 17th, 18th. And rounding out your top 20 will be Justin Laxton and Brian Tedeschi, 19th and 20th.
And your final 10 on the field this evening, Grant Brown, Cody Dempster there in row number 11. Boy, Barney is slipping that flag back and forth pretty quick. You see that? Top right of the screen, he is.
I did see that.
He is having a day there.
Quick with it.
Daniel Pope there in 23rd, Colin Allman 24th. How about John Willett and Blake Massengill in row 13? Then row 14, Riley Stenjum and Steele Langford. And Corey Bodie and Dante Curtis complete your field this evening. Whiplash SimCam's race details quickly. 125 laps, 78.1 miles in this race. No change sets. There is a choose-in effect on the front stretch coming to 1 to green. Cautions will count. 2 green-white checkers if we need them. Open setup, no fast fix. It's the usual setup. And there you see the reordered top 8. It's going to put Petter out front, Joel Smith in second, Drunowski third, Harberts fourth. Then it will be, looks like Terzak fifth, Cottle sixth, McCullum 7th, and Cabry 8th. I do want to highlight one driver. That's going to be the driver that is now starting from second place. That is Joel Smith, recently crowned Pro Champion in U.S. Legend Cars for 2025. And he's going to be not quite leading the field to the green, but he will be on the front row for the initial start here this evening of Brett Suggs Racing Media Mystery Night. Down to turns 3 and 4. We're going to turn the music down, turn the engines up. Here we go. 125 laps in the Empire State begins now. Already loose off of turn 4. That was Kyle Terzak just hanging on to the race car. 1 lap complete. There goes the entire field on bias.
And that was one of the things that I kind of wanted to see how these guys on the outside would fare. These guys getting down to the bottom very, very quickly. Obviously, very flat track, so not a lot of banking to use on the outside. And with how quickly you've got to get back down into the corner in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, these guys are going to be flying by, so it's going to be very, very imperative to get down to the bottom, use every bit of track that you can when you can have it to try to gain any kind of momentum throughout this track.
Joel Smith second. He's putting chase, of course, to Tracy Petter. Petter's been getting better and better lately. Not an intentional play on words there. He's just genuinely been getting really, really good as of late. So it's cool to see him out front. We'll see if he can hang on to that track position as the day goes on. Drunowski third, Terzak fourth. Alex McCullum's going to have some work to do, certainly, but he's already up to the 5th spot, Zach. And, you know, for the driver that is leading the power rankings by a wide margin, he's leading the point standings, he's been on fire as of late. This is a little bit dangerous for the 4 cars ahead.
Yeah, and obviously you could tell here, well, look at that wheel almost all the way to the right coming out of the corner, and he didn't even correct. That just goes to show how difficult it is to get on the throttle for these things right now. Very, very slippery. So that just kind of leans into my point. McCullum might just be kind of laying in wake right now, maybe trying to save up some of his stuff. This is a very, very long race, albeit we're almost 10 laps in, and we're only, 3-4 minutes in under green. So it just goes to show how quickly laps are going to tick off here, but it also goes to show how quickly you could tear up tires. McCullum there looked a little low, maybe learning a little bit on how to get into the entry of these corners. So This is going to be interesting to watch. Like you said, already up a couple positions, already on the back end of these top 4, but he's not really making any kind of big moves to try to gain that 4th position.
And for McCollum, back here to the driver's eye POV. I know this catches everybody out, but it's commonplace to me. I do this every week now with the Super Series, and this steering offset is not quite what Alex actually has. Zach, you know this. I mean, the steering offset is technically part of the setup, right? So yep. iRacing does not transmit setup data in any way, whether it be ride heights or stuff like that. So it's displaying a default steering offset here for McCollum, and I guarantee you it's a little bit different at the very least. I don't know how different, but that's why it shows it so far to the right. That's just the default offset for these cars. I'd imagine it's a little more center on the straightaways, but you never know. Hard to say exactly where that offset truly is for McCollum. Regardless, you can see how much the wheel is still moving through these corners. They definitely are working the arms out this evening. Even though it's sim racing, it is still very real inputs you're putting into the wheel and pedals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that's one of the beauties of iRacing. Obviously, it's going to protect what you have underneath the hood, underneath the helmet, so to say. But at the same time, it's still very real input, still very real drivers behind the wheel, albeit on an online server, on a virtual track, in a virtual car, still very real inputs. And I think that's just the beauty of it. Whatever you do inside the car, it has big effects on what the car does, and obviously how fast that car is and how you maintain that car around others. So this is obviously one of the beauties of iRacing right here, is just very real inputs and very real reactions from each of these guys.
Single file around the entire racetrack right now. Everybody literally in a line, conga line, conveyor belt around this facility currently, trying to find their place on this racetrack. You know, we mentioned at the top of the show, it's irregularly shaped. It's a little bit deeper into 1 and 2 and wider as well. And it's very strange. It's interesting seeing these cars actually race now. I've run some laps, both in a super late model and an ARCA car here in preparation for this event. I really had no clue what to expect. This is very interesting seeing it now play out. This is not quite what I thought would be the case. I thought we'd have a little more side-by-side racing. It's definitely a learning experiment, I think, for everybody out there in the field tonight to see how this racetrack is truly going to play for these cars, especially, you know, these guys would probably be racing a little bit differently if they had all week or weeks even to prep for this race. Instead, they had to just hope they had a comparable setup in the bin, somewhere in their setup folder, and maybe tweak on it a little bit once they got in the session. There's not much they could have done.
No, you're absolutely right, but I think that's just the beauty of the mystery race. It keeps everybody on their toes, where it could be a disadvantage to you, you know, maybe a personal driver in the race, it could be a disadvantage to you, but it could also be a disadvantage to some of the guys that are usually out front or somebody around you. So it levels out that playing field. It could be a big advantage to somebody, it could be a huge disadvantage to somebody, and I think that's just the beauty of this mystery race, is to not allow anybody to have that upper hand. You know, we got a very real possibility that a lot of these guys are working day in and day out, 9-to-5 jobs, so they don't get to practice a lot, maybe some a lot less than others. So this mystery race is a great even level playing ground for some of these guys. We look at this intense battle right here, the 11 hanging on to the outside, the 6 now underneath him. The 11's been on the outside for just a little bit. Looks like he's finally going to be able to get down coming into 1. He is able to do so. That's Pope. He's going to be able to finally get down in line right in front of his counterpart right behind him.
I mentioned a pro driver in one respect, Joel Smith, winning the real legitimate NX US Legend Cars Pro Championship, National Championship in 2025. I was lucky enough to be at the banquet a few weeks ago. A pro driver in a different respect is actually Daniel Pope. He used to be a pro driver here on the oval side in iRacing. So it's cool to have all these different drivers from different walks of life and with different experience levels, but all in the Super Series, the top level of SARA racing here on iRacing.com. And I will say Joel Smith is starting to head the wrong direction himself. He is on the outside with Dronowski now ahead and Terzak underneath. It is high time to get that 24 car moving.
Well, being on the outside stuck there like this, well, obviously you see how close he gets to Turczak there, trying to use every little bit of track that he can. You see right there, McCollum's able to pull by him as well. Maybe he just lets McCollum go. Really smart move to not allow himself to stay stuck on that outside. Not really waste those tires any more than they might already be. Obviously, we've seen him fall from second back to fifth. That means his tire's probably not hanging in. His setup's not liking it so far. So there's no need to create more blood flow. Just try to stop the bleeding while you can, and I think he's done a good job of that. Let these guys get up in front of him, battle a little bit, understand what he needs to go further into the race, and try to get back to being competitive against these guys.
Cool race so far. This is definitely not quite what I had envisioned when Matt told me we'd be at Oswego here today, but it's interesting. I think it's going to be a driver's race as the tires wear out, especially with the higher track temps. I think it's really going to come to the hands of the drivers behind the wheel. Alex McCollum starting to show a little bit of that as he puts pressure here on Kyle Turczak for what is now the third position. Dronowski a little free there off of 4. Turczak bobbled a little bit as well, but that one car looks planted.
Yeah, I was about to say, you saw the bobble there from Dronowski and Turczak, but that one of McCollum did not bobble at all. We might see it again coming out of 4. That's where this that big bobble happened for these drivers the last time. Let's see if it happens again. Well, building got in our way just a little bit there, but you still see how many bumps these guys got to take in. The 114 goes by Turczak. Little bit of contact. These guys keep it straight, but now that's going to give Petter an even bigger lead now because everyone had to check up from second on back. That's going to bring second all the way back to, what is that, 10th now? These guys are right on top of each other for 9 positions here.
That is currently second through 8th. So 7 cars in a line now as they race for these positions. Dronowski had a slight bobble. He went up the racetrack in 1 and 2. Turczak got him in the left rear bumper. Thankfully, both drivers were able to hang on to it, but it definitely affected them. Shuffled things up a little bit. They stayed mostly in order, these 7 cars, but they are much closer together now as Turczak continues to look lower on Dronowski on corner entry. 30 laps in the books this time by. Here comes Petter across the line. 30 laps complete right there.
And you can see here Turczak all over the back end of Dronowski as we see the field come hauling through. You see how close some of these groupings are. It just goes to show how difficult it is to pass. You could be faster than the guy in front of you, but if you don't have any kind of position on entry or on exit, you're going to be stuck there for a little bit. We see that happening here with Turczak. He feels like he's got a car to get around Dronowski, but Dronowski has the position. Turczak again almost laying the bumper to him, but he's closer, a lot closer now than he has been. He's going to look left. Dronowski still going to defend again right on his back bumper. Just goes to show how difficult it is around this big old track.
I gotta say, I like from this bumper cam on Turczak, every once in a while you can just see the Pit Stop TV logo there on the quarter panel of Dronowski's car. I didn't realize that was there. There you see it. Oh, don't hit him. Oh man, Turczak moves Dronowski up the racetrack. Great battle here for second. And this is only just beginning. McCollum fires underneath. Wow.
Big slide underneath in 1. McCollum going to look to the inside. Dronowski going to finally give it up on the backstretch there. Huge slide for McCollum there to get into 3rd. You saw the window, how quickly that was going to close. McCollum saw it too. He took advantage up to P3 and P2 for Turczak and McCollum.
That was impressive work out of the one car there to just squeeze on by the 14 of Dronowski. And so now, let's look at this in terms of McCollum racing up to the front of the field. He has moved up into the 3rd spot, but he is about 1.7 seconds back of Tracy Petter. So imagine this goes green for 90 more laps. I doubt it does, but it's certainly possible. We've seen it before with these guys. Regardless, that's 1.7, now 1.6 seconds he has to make up. I think they can get there. I do believe the 15 and the 1 can run the 79 car down. Tracy's gotten good as of late. I just don't know that he's going to be better than 2 of the more recent winners here in this series and 2 of the top few drivers in the power rankings. Turczak, McCollum, they are really good right now in super late models on iRacing. Meanwhile, the 0 and 00 are battling here. Rolf and Tucker side by side. This is for 11th on the racetrack.
11th on the racetrack, but still side by side. You see the the Zero car on the high side be able to hang strong. That's the first time we've seen the high side car be able to take the advantage. The 00 maybe a little bit too loose, now has to back up a little bit more. Now puts him in the clutches of Ellie just behind him. He's gonna look to his inside. The 00 closes up real quick, but Ellie was looking. So just these guys right on top of each other. Tucker gonna be able to hold position now right in front of him. That's gonna bring up the 88 just behind them as well.
Got a comment in the YouTube chat from Finish Line Shine saying someone is Mr. Oswego. I'm curious, who is Mr. Oswego? I am not aware of this, and that would be huge if somebody in this field particularly has an advantage here or is more comfortable here. That would be really interesting. Oh, Tracy Petter apparently. Huh. You know, I did see.
How about that?
I did see in the Spencer Dickinson fan club Discord that Tracy actually thanked Matt Rolfe for the track choice this evening. That's interesting. Yeah, he is out of New York. That makes sense. Okay. So Tracy Petter, Mr. Oswego, leading the race right now.
Oswego.
Can he hold on to it though? Long ways to go.
Well, we've seen that time be fluctuating from him back to Turkzak and McCollum. That time keeps going up and down. Before he got into 3 and 4 right there, he was up a second and a half over Turkzak and a second and 7/10 over McCollum, and then it came down drastically again. Right there, you see it again. Up almost 1.8 over McCollum, 1.2 over Turkzak, closes in the middle of 3 and 4. So right now, maybe just advantage to the 15 and 1 and 3 and 4, but the advantage to the number 79 and 1 and 2.
Caution! For the first time tonight, it's going to be Kendall Tucker in that 00 that we were looking at recently. He's around somewhere in turns 1 and 2. There he is, getting back rolling. I would imagine that he must have had help, but let's not jump to too many conclusions. Let's find out. Look back at it.
Hard with Rolfe there.
Yeah, Kyle Eli now right behind him. I would imagine Eli must make contact with him in some way, or even maybe Chris Horton. Here's the run down the front straightaway for these two. Tucker outside, Eli inside. They just disagreed over space. Eli felt he had position, and boy, we saw a good bit of that at Spa a little while ago with the GT3 cars.
We did see that a really good bit there, and we saw Eli there. Obviously, he tried that move earlier. The 00 was able to protect him, but Eli there with a really good run out of 4, obviously showing his nose that he is going to be there. And just, yeah, like you said, a good, just arguing for space right there. And unfortunately, it came at the expense of the 00.
Try to get an overhead look at it here from the blimp. You see Eli arc out in the center of 3 and 4, drive back down to the bottom of 4, get that run on the front stretch, and then kind of dives here, lunges into the corner and gets alongside of Tucker. I think that's definitely going to be on the passing car, though. And, you know, we saw a similar-ish situation with Daniel Morad and Jackson Rosende in the North American Racing League a little bit ago, but in this case, I think Eli definitely lunged a bit at the corner and got alongside of Tucker once they were already into the corner, and I would imagine Eli will be going to the rear for this, whether it's a claim or, I guess it would have to be a claim. I think Race Control would rule on it later, but no claim yet from Eli, it seems, as he is still up in 12th position. We didn't get a chance to go through all the paint schemes this evening, and I saw one that you mentioned when we were getting ready for this broadcast. Grant Brown, Patriot Media and Marketing Services himself, has got a new paint scheme out there. It's a cool kind of deep metallic aquamarine.
I do like that scheme. Just like I've said before, I'm always a sucker for blue, but that just metallic it has wrapped all the way around that car, it looks very, very nice. The only thing that gets me though is that backwards roof number, but I'm not too well versed in the late model stuff or the late model stuff as well. So, you know, that could be a thing for them. So that I'm going to hold my opinion, or I'm going to hold my opinion on the roof number. As the pace car is down, we're getting ready to go back green.
Here we go. Coming to our first restart of the evening. Tracy Petter, Mitch Drunowski, your front of the field. They each chose their lanes. Green flag back out here at Oswego.
Oh.
Caution, Kendall Tucker again. Seems John Willett might be involved.
We had one on the backstretch, too. We had a little bit more on the backstretch.
Yeah, Cameron Hamilton. Whoa, look at this. Hamilton, and who is that with him? That's Traves.
Traves.
I believe they're teammates at the association. I know Hamilton is the association. I think Traves might be as well. Yeah. Teammates there, wadded up in the inside of turn 3. That is not what you want to see at all. Let's go back here.
Not.
00 Kendall Tucker. Let's go a little further forward actually in the replay. Here's the run to the restart. These guys still trying to get in line. They did choose their lanes. Tucker here to turn 1. Gets bottled up behind Grant Brown, actually hits the 14 and sends him sliding. They park on the outside of the corner. So that was all fine and dandy. That's whatever. I mean, a hit, a slide, okay.
Yep.
But then Traves and Hamilton. Hamilton, not a great restart. That's the white, orange, and black 10 car. A little bit checked up, and down here into... Oh, Rolf got him in the checkup.
Rolf did get him.
Huh. In the checkup for the caution, Hamilton got off the gas. Rolf didn't quite catch the memo, and Rolf got into the back of the 10 car. That was after the inside lane like bottled up themselves. Oh man.
And it's just unfortunate for I believe that was Traves right there. He was just going to roll on the bottom. Everything looked clear and green until his teammate came down and caught him. Let's take a look from the inside of Matt Rolfe here.
He just stayed in the gas a little bit too long. That's just a straight up mistake on both Tucker's part and Rolf's part in that caution for the 2 separate incidents here for our second caution of the evening. I will say, Zach, this has actually helped Tracy Petter and everybody else up front majorly. Here's the choose again. Petter goes low. Dronowski, Terzak low. Joel Smith, the first car to go high. Alex McCollum is going to line up bottom, 4th in line on the bottom, effectively 7th on the restart.
Yeah, that's... I mean, obviously it looks like the bottom is the preferred line, but any kind of mess up in a restart here and somebody in front of you on the outside would be able to jump in front, as we got a delay in green here as far as
I think that's a good call.
Yeah, it didn't look like everybody was lined up coming out of 4, so it looks like we're going to have another chance to come back around and re-rack them. But no, again, just going back to what like we were talking about, McCollum 4th in line on the bottom. It's obviously the preferred line, but if somebody jumps in line in front of him, that's going to put him even further back.
They might be in a purgatory of extending the caution. I'm not sure. Are we going this time?
Yeah, it sounds like we're going this time. Nothing has come over the radio.
They didn't quite catch the pace car because of how much shorter a pit lane is here versus the racetrack. Here we go. Green flag is back out, racing once again at Oswego Speedway. Joel Smith with a great restart. He hangs on the outside of the 14 of Dronowski. Josh Cottle, he's up here for the first time tonight in the top 5.
Cottle now being stuck just to the outside. The second one on the outside there, just behind the 24. As we were saying earlier, this is the preferred position to be on the bottom line. You see it starting to slowly prevail. These guys on the outside using a little bit of a technique, drive it in hard, turn that car and drive it out hard. So these guys are trying everything that they can to keep position out on the outside here, as we now see the outside line fall back to Terzak at 3rd on the bottom.
Let's look through most of the field there as they get into position. Whoa, Terzak and Smith, some contact. That allows McCollum to really get underneath the 24 car now. And that will be for 4th position. Smith trying to get in 5th. Caution. Spencer Dickinson in all kinds of trouble back here. Oh my gosh.
My gosh.
Wow. a parking lot over in turn 2.
Yeah, whole parking lot, everyone trying to get out at the same time, almost more collisions after the fact. This is probably going to have to stop the leaders just before the fact, just because of how big that was. I think everybody got lined up before the leaders got there. Wow, that was a huge mess up out of 2.
Big accident here. Where does it start? Maybe with Parrish in the 88? Absolutely. Parrish in the 88 got Laxton, and they all just stacked up.
Oh my gosh.
And that's always the concern with these kinds of races where everybody's single file and around the bottom. Conveyor belt, I mean, you've got nowhere to go when a crash does happen. I think we saw it a time or two even at Mexico City. But watch the 88 on the left side of the screen. He just taps the 53 of Laxton, gets him sideways, and they all stack up trying to miss it. Langford, Dickinson, Pope. Pope got away decently, but man.
I mean, it just goes to show, like you were saying, just with how close everyone is right here, and with that little bit of a mix-up with everybody on the same line, the preferred line, so to say, it's just so difficult. But oh, you know what? This is a good little Murtis mega miss here. The Murtis Esports mega miss right here. You see all this happening. Brett Suggs hard left because he thought everything was going to be clear. Still a hard left, able to get through it without a scratch.
Certainly wish Zach Murtis was here, but we'll settle for you, Mr. Lindgren. Let's see this from high above.
Am I not good enough? Is that what's happening?
No, it's good to get the Murtis logo on there for a moment, and you know, that was Zach's idea, and I think it fits there for sure for Brett Suggs. It's, you know, maybe a wide miss still by terms of some of the mega misses we've had so far with this new campaign, but still a pretty close one there for Brett. He easily could have been in that and instead was able to miss it. Under caution here, lap 61 of 125, right about at halfway. We're going to get a choose here in the background. While that happens, I want to take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. Next up for us, we have this Sunday morning, the All-American Racing League, 9:45 a.m. Eastern. It's going to be an early one, that's for sure. We'll be brewing some coffee and cracking some energy drinks early Sunday morning for the first round of the All-American Racing League at Daytona. Then we take the BRB Sundance Pro Series out to Michigan International Speedway on Tuesday for the first round of the BRB Sundance Pizza Chase. That should be an exciting one. And then Thursday, we do it all over again. We have got the North American Racing League taking the AM drivers out to Spa. That should be fun, February 5th. The AM drivers out to Spa, and then we, for the SARA Super Series, will head out to New Smyrna, and I'm excited for that. New Smyrna is always a great racetrack to hit, and boy, it's a lot of fun. Now, this choose is much more interesting than the chooses prior. Look at that. Alex McCullum has chosen the outside lane of row number 1. That is big. I think he learned his lesson from restarting effectively 7th the last time around. He has chosen outside of row 1. That's second place for McCullum. He'll start just ahead of Cole Cabry, who chooses outside of row 2. I think they got smart on this one. We'll see if it works out. It's definitely a bold call for those 3 drivers because Cottle's up there too. Let's see how it goes. Restart on the way. Green flag once again. Mr. Oswego takes us out of turn 1. Down the back stretch. Real zoomed in there because Petter and McCullum are on top of each other. Petter might get clear, but not by much. McCullum almost had him he might have had him at the stripe.
He might have had him at the stripe, but this is what everybody else wanted to see. These two finally going at it. McCullum has been kind of stuck back in traffic. We saw him before this last restart choose the inside, chooses the outside here. Looks like it's going to work for him very, very well. He finally gets down to the inside. That's going to be right in front of Drunowski. Drunowski now has to deal with McCullum. Drunowski's been inside the top 2 for most of the night without any kind of battle from... Well, he did get booted out from Turczak there, but now Turczak behind these two. Looking to the inside of McCullum, right on his left rear. Drunowski not going to be able to hold it, but he is bringing the battle to McCullum.
We haven't seen many times this season, or even the last couple of seasons, anyone be able to fight that one car. So it's refreshing to see Drunowski take a swipe or two at McCullum's rear bumper and try to get back by that one. It's just so often been a tale of McCullum domination out front. So to see anybody be able to battle with him is very cool, even if it isn't Cole Camery or Josh Cottle. And it's especially cool, actually, to see Drunowski take a shot there at the 1 car, in my opinion. Terzak there in 4th, Smith in 5th. How about Jacob Harbert suddenly towards the top 5? He is position number 6 right now. He qualified fastest, Zach, so technically he'll be credited with starting first, but you see, he quickly dropped back to 10th.
He dropped back to 10th, but being able to jump back up into 6th place currently, I mean, with some of, with how difficult it is to not only get around these guys, but being stuck on the outside, with them being nose to tail, constantly at the same speed, not being able to get in. Obviously, not the start he wanted, falling all the way back to 10th, and also because of that little bit of an invert that we had, or the random 8 that we had up front. But still, with him falling back to 10th, but picking up some positions to get back inside the top 10 and almost battling here for 5th, that's still, I feel like, a really, really good comeback.
Some side-by-side racing deeper in the field, including Chris Horton. He's on the outside of Kyle Eli here on the 21. Brian Tedeschi is there as well in the 29 car. This is back for about 13th position right now. So as we approach 50 laps to go, it's go time for these guys for sure. If they want to get moving, they've got to start that process now. Trevor Edwards is back here. Grant Brown is back here. Even Daniel Pope and Dante Curtis. They have got to get a move on if they want to go for a top 10 here at Oswego Speedway this evening. Horton gets down in line. Again, he is subbing in for Keith Jeffrey. And Keith has had a couple of really good runs lately in late model stocks. He hasn't had as great of runs in supers as late, but Horton did a great job at this 88 car this evening. I'm not sure the process of all the points that Horton earns will go to Jeffrey, but it's very cool to see that he's given that 88 a good run this evening, as both 88 cars have sub-drivers this evening. Parrish is subbing in for Meyer, and actually Parrish has just recently taken that car to the pit lane.
Yeah, we saw him involved in that big melee coming out of 2, and obviously maybe just the damage too much for Parrish to continue on. Obviously not the night he wanted, especially being a sub-driver. You want to try to bring that car home as clean as possible. Just being stuck up in something like that, not what you want. But, I mean, here is what you want. These two battling it out. Mr. Oswego himself right in front of McCullum. McCullum bringing the battle to Mr. O. Can Mr. O be able to hold him off, or can McCullum be able to take over that title? These guys right on top of each other. McCullum did fall back a little bit from that battle he had with Drunowski. He's been able to catch back up to Petter. Is Petter just saving him his stuff just for a little bit to try to make a late race surge to get away from these guys? Or is McCullum just red hot right now, right on his tail?
I'm going to pose a question to the short track aficionados out there, like myself. This racetrack almost feels kind of like the northern Greenville Pickens to me. It's obviously Greenville Pickens is a different profile slightly. It's a little more regularly shaped. Oswego is a little more awkwardly shaped, but it's flat. These guys are down right on the inside wall, and you know you want the bottom here. You know you want to get down low quickly and just rip with your left side mirror as close to the inside wall as possible. This feels a little bit, even some of the sight lines, this feels a little bit almost like a northern Greenville Pickens Speedway. It's pretty cool. I worked a few Cars Tour races at Greenville Pickens, and we had the Old North State Nationals there a couple of times, and I recall our cameras, down in turns 3 and 4, it was kind of a stretch for a shoot from the front stretch. And you just got a lot of inside wall, just like that. A lot of inside wall and grass out on the inside. Hearing that it races a little bit like Berlin in real life, I don't know. Just watching it on the sim, it's reminded me slightly of Greenville Pickens. Maybe that's a little off, I don't know. I can see Berlin as well, but Berlin's got a lot more banking, I feel like. So regardless, both of those are tracks that should absolutely be on iRacing one day.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, okay. Hold on.
There's words in there somewhere, buddy.
Wow. There were a lot trying to come at one point. What I was trying to say was there are so many tracks that I feel like should be on iRacing just because of how both popular they are in both to the community of maybe super lates, late models, whoever may go there, but to the community of racing in general, just whoever enjoys going to these tracks. I feel like there's so many good tracks out there that not going to waste, but not going to be recognized virtually, just because iRacing just doesn't have them on here. And it's so cool to see a track like this where I personally, before 30 minutes ago, never knew about this track, never knew it existed. But seeing it virtually has brought somebody new that's never seen it or never known of this track to this track, and given some form of racing to it, some form of identity to it, so to say. So I feel like some of those tracks really do need to be put in iRacing here, as we see the top two and the third and fourth right on top of each other. But still, though, I feel like I agree with you. These tracks need to be brought to iRacing or some form of virtual, some sort of virtual realness.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is definitely kind of the case that even Salem Speedway is trying to tap into. There's been some buzz recently on social media about Salem trying to get on iRacing, sending an email and posting the email publicly. I mean, hey, that's one strategy to get iRacing's attention and certainly to get some fans behind you. I mean, it's working. They're getting attention, so can't knock it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of racetracks I think that certainly want to get on the sim. I know Winchester and Florence are on the way, and those will certainly provide series like the SARA Super Series with very unique opportunities to race something a little bit different from what we've seen on iRacing for the last 10, 15 years at this point in time. And I mean, Zach, I'm pretty sure you and I are both hitting 10 years this year on the sim.
I mean, yeah, no, that makes sense. I believe the first race I ever ran was back in 2016, and it was on my mom's laptop. So we've come a long way for being here on the sim. 10 years. I didn't even think about that. You bring up a really good point, making me feel old, buddy. Oh my goodness.
30's around the corner for you, bud. But hey,
man.
Great battle here between somebody who's not closing in on 30. Kyle Terzak, one of the youngest in the series, just nudged Jurnowski up the racetrack. Another young driver in the series, Joel Smith, trying to fill that gap underneath. Jurnowski on the outside. I'm not sure how old he is, but boy, this is a great fight. They're beating and banging.
That was the second time we saw Terzak have to move Jurnowski up the track to try to get around him. We were talking about it earlier with that onboard cam right on the nose of Terzak. Now we see beating and banging from these guys. Terzak trying to give every advantage possible down the stretches, and Jurnowski trying to have every advantage possible in the corners, not letting Terzak get the exit. Terzak not letting Jurnowski get the entry. This is a back and forth chess at 150 miles per hour.
150 might be a slight stretch. 120.
That might be a stretch. Okay, I did exaggerate.
110, 120 to the corner, regardless.
I had to bring more drama to already a drama-filled battle here, bud.
That's fair. I mean, this is very dramatic between these two. We're approaching 30 laps to go, and they are just feeding door after door of each other. Oh, Terzak might wreck him here. Big contact between the two. Jurnowski now tries to shut the door. Terzak keeps using him up. I don't think Mitch will stand for this much longer.
There's something's got to give at some point now, because now they brought in Smith and Harbert's just behind them. Smith looked like he's going to side with Terzak right now. Obviously, the preferred lane is on the inside, but give cred where credit is due. That 14 is holding strong on the outside, not allowing Terzak to get any kind of exit. Gets a bit of a launch there out of two, so to say. This might be an advantage to the 14 here. Runs very wide, not allowing Terzak to get to his quarter. Give that back to the to the 14 and Jurnowski.
Oh!
Terzak's not going to allow it. Wow.
That was impressive. Terzak definitely got him again down there in one. Jurnowski trying to shut the door, finally does so. Doesn't care if he catches Kyle's foot in the door. Just wants to get rid of the 15 car and hang on to third place. Terzak's not done. A shot again here in turn one. Oh my goodness, how many times are we going to repeat this? I'm all for it. I am, but I know Mitch is not. Oh, he hits him again.
There it is.
Drift, hang on. Terzak now sliding.
Terzak having trouble. Now it's going to open the door for the 24. The 08 gets involved in it, or excuse me, 80 Harberts has to save it. These guys now side by side.
Harbert's had a big slide there for a moment. Jurnowski on the outside of Smith. Paul Camry's watching these four and just wants to get by them all. As he now approaches this fight, Jurnowski wants to get in line here and probably wants to pay the 15 a visit, whether it's on the racetrack or in the holler. I'm not sure which. Possibly both.
Well, we saw the power that Dranowski had on the outside. Now he's got to try to use that to his advantage to try to get back in line to even have that chance. Obviously, he's going to be a little heated. He did lose some positions because of it, but if he maintains that rage, he might lose a little bit more. So he's got to take a breath. It looks like he has a little bit of contact with the 80 there.
It's not done. Here comes Allman. Colin Allman fills the gap underneath Cole Cabry. We're mixing things up even further now as a caution is out. It's right behind these guys. It is Colin Allman around. Looks like he went around really quick and got back rolling. Because the caution... Yeah, I mean, he was the slow car, so that was the yellow. Oh my goodness. 25 to go. These guys are getting a reset and are going to restart all together again. So watch Allman here in the white and red 67. There's the contact between Dranowski and Harberts. Harberts checks up. Allman dives there on Cabry. Riley Stenjum then gets a run and just smacks in the back bumper of the 67. Allman grabs a gear, gets gone. All things considered, not too bad. I mean, not ideal.
Not too bad.
If anything, that should, I would think, send Stenjum packing to the rear of the field. Which is unfortunate. Boy, he's in the top 10 in our power rankings now. Just look at it from his onboard. I mean, he just smacked in the bumper.
Yeah, probably wasn't expecting that big of a checkup from the 67 there. Obviously, 67 had a huge run, didn't want to run into Cabry, so maybe just trying to avoid running into Cabry and just checked up a little bit too much. 77 wasn't expecting that. But man, what a battle we saw there from everybody that started to get involved in all that.
And you know what I'm noticing here, Zach? Look at Kyle Terzak. He is running way down the racetrack on the straightaways and back up on the corners. Let's see, where does he go here in 1 and 2? He stays low in 1 and 2 here. But he is trying to get those tires onto cooler asphalt. Look at the weather temps. I mean, 116 degree track temp. That is warm. And all that battling, that sliding, that beating and banging just, warmed those tires up even more. They're probably pretty greasy. Probably pretty worn. We've run 100 laps. Terzak is doing what he can right now to try and maintain those tire temperatures, get them back down where he wants them so that he can keep fighting. He's going to restart third. I don't know if that's going to last, though. Looks like Smith might go high here. Here's the choose. McCollum goes high. Terzak low. Petter, of course, went low. Smith goes low. Dranowski's going to restart back on the outside of Terzak. That should be fun to watch. As Riley Stenjum will not go to the rear of the field. He will stay up here. He's going to restart 6th. Harbert 7th. Allman 8th. Cabry 9th. Cottle 10th. Saw a couple of cars in the pit lane. Here's one of them. That is Blake Massengill getting back on the racetrack. John Willett is still out there. He's got some damage. Dante Curtis out there as well. He is back in 24th. He recently pitted. John Willett, I believe, just got a lap back. So Zach, get your picks ready. We've got driver of the day coming up in just a second. If we get, we're going green this time. So we will make our nominations once we go back green, or if we get another caution, we'll focus on it during that yellow. But here we go. Back around to the restart zone. Petter can fire pretty early in turn 4 if he wishes, or he can wait a little bit longer and bunch these guys up. Let's see what he does. Right there is the beginning of the zone. He fires. Green flag back out here at Oswego. McCollum, a big restart on the outside.
That's going to give the advantage to McCollum. McCollum almost clear of...
Oh, he's gone.
Petter. It looks like... Oh, Petter's going to try to keep the nose.
Oh! They moved him right at the racetrack. That was a tasteful little bump and run. Caution. Who had the lead? I think Petter did. Caution is out for Dickinson and Moore. I think Petter had it. There's Dickinson.
It looked like Petter had it.
And yeah, Petter's staying ahead here after the yellow. I think Petter's got the edge there. Let's go back a little bit further. Let's see this from the restart. Once again for these two. McCollum just got a good jump.
Yeah, McCollum with a fantastic jump. It looks like he just clear enough, but I feel like that's the cleanest
Wow.
bump I've ever seen in iRacing.
That was
Obviously,
really good.
Obviously, there's going to be contact, especially for battling for the lead, but that was obviously, or in my opinion, the cleanest little bump I have ever seen on iRacing.
That was really well done by Tracy Petter. Whether it was intentional or not, I don't know, but he just leaned on Alex just enough to move him up and get the spot back. Here's Spencer Dickinson. Grant Brown goes around ahead, and Dickinson actually misses it. Let's see that for Grant Brown then in the 14. Checked up there with Matt Rolfe on the inside. And then down in turns 3 and 4, gets a tap there from Langford and slides into the wall. But Zach, we cannot waste any time here into this yellow. We've got to get driver of the day done here. 2 drivers apiece. Who you got?
2 drivers apiece. Well, I'm going to take the obvious, and that's going to be Mr. Petter up front here. Obviously, Mr. O himself, being able to gap the field early in the run, not really allowing anyone to battle, and then just bringing the battle to McCollum when McCollum brought the battle to him, not really getting intimidated. McCollum with a fantastic launch on the outside that last time, but not getting intimidated, uses that bumper to its fullest extent and being able to take over P1 yet again. I'm going to have to give my first nod to Tracy Petter. The second one, I'm gonna go back a little bit, and I'm going to give it to Riley Stingham. From 27th on grid up to 6th now, looking at a top 5, depending on where he chose here. I'm going to have to give it to Stingham. That's one heck of a drive from all the way to the back to the front on a track that's very difficult to pass. Give me Stingham.
Looks like we have just enough time here to not go green just yet. I'm going to bring up, you can see a few more stats than I can while we're live like this. So I want to see positions gained here on the ticker. Allman stands out, 17 spots gained. That's absolutely going to be one, I think. Colin Allman, I know he got tipped around a little bit ago, but he has just been really, really fun to watch lately. He was good at Iowa. He was good at another track before that. I want to say Concord or Lanier or something. He's been getting good. So the 67 of Allman certainly deserves a nod here. There he is. There's Colin Allman. And then, you know what? For having the composure to handle that battle we saw with Kyle Terzak, I'm going to go Mitch Drunowski. That was
good choice.
A lot to handle. He had some really great saves. I'm going to give that to Mitch Drunowski. That vote is going to go live over on YouTube in just a moment. Here we go. Back green at Oswego. So what you did not see on the choose, Petter went low, McCullum high, Terzak low, Drunowski high. A bit of a rinse and repeat from what we saw before, but this time McCullum did not get a good restart. He is back there alongside the 15 of Terzak. They fight for second.
Zach now just the low of McCollum.
Crashing.
Oh, we got a big crash.
Big crash in turns 1 and 2. Try to get back there. It's not wanting to click on these guys. There we go. Would not let me click on these guys for the life of me. Pope, I'm pretty sure I saw Allman in it. Curtis was stomped up on the wall there. I think this starts with Colin Allman. It does. Harberts gets into him, sends him up. Harberts spins. Cottle, oh my gosh. Tedeschi, Edwards. Wow.
Wow. Again, a big pile up in 1 and 2 again.
That was larger, I think, than the first. And it starts from an equally small little tap. Harberts just dove there, and Allman checked up. That's really not even on Harberts. Then they all just stack up. Dempster got a piece. Edwards went up on two wheels. Let's see this from the vantage point of Matt Rolfe.
And there's just nothing you can do once you're stuck like that. Obviously, Matt Rolfe went to the outside thinking everything might get cleared down, but on a flat track, fast cars like that, they're gonna go all the way to the top. Rolfe had nowhere to go.
Tracy Petter will lead us back to another restart. This might be the choose here. It looks like it. No. No, not yet.
Not
No
yet.
choose there. We'll wait one more lap. Well, while we have a moment, I want to give a big thank you to all our partners with this series. There are a handful of them, a healthy handful of them, and I love talking about them each and every week. We'll start, of course, with this page. Here we go. All-Pro Virtual League Brown Racing Development. Tonight's presenting partner, how about Brett Suggs Racing Media, Corey Bodie Motorsports, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, Dylan Bates Racing, Hides Pride, Leather and Sheepskin, Hot Shot Photography, Impel Motorsports. How about as well, International Short Track Association, Pedley's Garage Incorporated, Pierce Fleet Service, Privateer Race Products, RJ Williams Management, RS Center Trucking, SARA Templates, SimRepMarket.com, the Association, and Trackside Threads. You saw it there, the choose.
That one.
Yes, it's a mouthful for sure. You saw the choose there. Pet or low. Let's see, will we extend that? We're not extending the green. Down to just a few laps. These guys got to figure it out. So Pet or low, McCullum high. Terzak low, Dronowski high, Smith low, Cabry high. It's very similar to what we've been seeing. Can McCullum get a good restart again? Can Petter cover it up? Green flag, 9 to go. Clean so far. Next time by the stripe, 8 will remain. Petter trying to hang on for a big Super Series victory at Oswego.
Saw the big dive there from McCullum to get in front of Turkzak, but we've also seen Turkzak, he goes fastest there, so Turkzak obviously feels like he's got something there. We've seen Turkzak get aggressive with people in front of him that he feels like is slowing him up. The outside of the 24 is Dronowski underneath Smith. Smith is going to back up, put Dronowski right behind Turkzak.
Caution.
And we've got our yellow.
Blake Massengill this time on the front straightaway, and he has got a bunch of damage. That number 10 has seen better days, that's for sure.
A lot of better days.
No rear fascia, no rear spoiler. Yeah, he's definitely made an impact with something very hard and immovable. Here it is. Still Langford on the inside. Brett Suggs outside. A 33 sandwich. Alpha turn 4. 10 in the middle. Langford just tags Massengill and spins him right around, baby, right around. But that was a big hit even for Langford. And something tells me we have more to look at here.
Being stuck on the 3 wide inside like that. Nowhere to go for really both of these guys. Big shot to 33.
Wow!
We got one upside down.
He was able to land back on his wheels, it looks like. That was John Willett in the 8 car. Let's see this on board. This will be a view. They tried stopping, got hit, up and over.
Wow. Don't mean to laugh, but that's a ride. Oh, wow.
And John drives off like nothing ever happened. Incredible. Look at this. Langford spinning into the outside wall. Rolf drifting. Allman gets into Dickinson. It's really come unraveled here at the end, hasn't it?
It really has. It really has. I mean, we have had cars go up on 2 wheels, upside down and over. That's such a big hit from the 10, and obviously just nowhere to go for those guys. As soon as you get into the brakes, they lock up. There's just not much you can do. Ugh.
We are approaching overtime territory. Now, I don't know that we're going to get there. We're going to restart. Well, it might even be, at best, a natural green-white checker at this point, because, let's see. At best, we get 1 to green and go green 123 coming to 124. So, yeah, at best, we have a natural green-white checkered. Let's go ahead and break out the overtime rules graphic brought to you by MXWraps.com. 2 laps, green lap, white lap, then checkers will end it. If the green lap is completed at any point in time, the race is official. That will stand for this restart and any 2 potential green-white checkers we may have. As here's the choose. We will try to go green with a natural green-white checkered within regulation. So basically, if they get that green lap complete at any point in time, the race is official. The next flag would be the white flag, and that will end, or rather would be the checkered flag, because the white flag would come out. Anyways, it's complicated. If they get 1 lap complete, race is official. They race it back to the line. If they get a caution on the first lap of this restart, we repeat and try it over again. Here we go. Natural green-white checkered on the way for the SARA Super Series in their very first venture to Oswego. Green flag is out. McCullum might have jumped. Petter's got the lead to 1. Off of turn number 2, down to turn number 3. McCullum may be clear down. Petter's got the lead. Can they get back to the line?
Looks like they're going to be able to. Yes, sir. Whiplash Shim Cam's white flag in the air. McCullum able to get down right in front of Turczak. But will Petter be able to hold on? Gets a good launch out of 2.
Tracy Petter got moved up from the Contender Series for this season, and here he is. A few races later, he's the winner at Oswego. The very first trip for the Super Series to Oswego belongs to Mr. Oswego out of New York. Tracy Petter will win in New York. What a big, big win. Fastest lap of the race. I think he led every single lap. They crashed behind. We'll get a look at that in a moment, Zach, but what a win for Tracy Petter.
That was one heck of a win. Obviously, on that start there, we thought McCullum was going to be able to jump up in front of him, have as good of a jump as it looked like he's going to be able to have. But Petter leading almost every single lap up front like that, you can't have a better race than that. Petter with a fantastic run.
Incredible. Incredible. Let's go back and check out that run to the end, that crash there in the background for Kyle Turczak and such. Let's see.
I think I have an idea what happened. I wanted to mention it because I thought I saw it, but I'll let the replay happen here.
Yeah, I'm imagining it's Turczak and Drunowski boiling over. Here is a look at it. This is white flag coming to checkers. Drunowski on the back end of Turczak jacks him up, sends him. And Turczak lays in the throttle on exit. Wow, Cole Cabry. Massive hit and all of that. Rolf, Brown. Turczak's just a pinball at that point.
Yeah, it is hard to stop that thing when it gets pinballing like that. Honestly, Drunowski, I feel like that's a clean move with everything that was going on. Did not spin Turczak. Turczak just laid in the throttle right here, trying to get out of the corner, gain every position possible, and just, big hits.
If I had to guess, I think they'll both face penalties this week. The series is very, very strict on contact. We don't want to see contact for positions, really any position of the racetrack, let alone come out of the stripe here, causing a big crash after the fact. If I had to guess, they'll both get a talking to at the very least, some kind of probation. I don't know if there'll be a suspension out of it. It didn't really change the finishing order, all but Riley Stengham. Stengham, he kind of gets, moved around in all of this. I want to see that for him really quick.
The worst end of it.
The 77, yeah, he gets the worst side of all of this. Here he is. He's going to get shot down to the opening for the pit lane right here, although he kind of spun on his own. So I think ultimately, yes, this is something that the series will need to clean up and will crack down on between Drunowski and Turczak. I don't know that we see a suspension out of it because, frankly, I don't know that really anything changed too much.
Yeah, I don't think it changed much of anything. I mean, obviously, Turczak's going to lose a couple positions from that, but yeah, I don't think it altered much of anything. Everything happened after the fact, so I believe it's a big. Yeah, I could see the league probably doing something after the fact, which I feel like might be a good idea, but to be right on board with Drunowski here.
And frankly, there's a comment. It's from somebody with the name of Turczak. I'm gonna be honest. It's fine. You're allowed to back up your guy here, but Kyle, I've gone to bat for Kyle several times. He ran Mitch really, really rough in this race, so for Mitch to just slide his bumper is the least of what he could have done. I really appreciate Kyle Turczak. I think he's a really talented driver, but he really used Mitch up tonight. Yeah, that's really all I have to say there. Let's go ahead and go through race results, then we'll bid farewell to you here this evening, Zach. I appreciate you being here tonight, but let's go through unofficial race results. Tracy Petter with the big win. led every lap but 5 out there this evening. I don't even recall a time that he wasn't in the lead, but apparently there were 5 laps, probably under caution, who knows. But Tracy Petter will get the win with 120 led this evening out of 125 run. McCollum second, Dronowski third, Smith and Cabra, your top 5. I would imagine that might change. Dronowski might lose the spot. I don't know. Certainly, Matt Rolfe and team have a lot to look at. Chris Horton 6th, Kyle Turzak 7th, Dempster, Eli, Suggs, your top 10. Cool to see Brett Suggs grabbing a top 10 tonight.
He really did. It really is cool to see him grabbing that top 10. Hey, how about behind him, Corey Bodie right behind him from 29th to 11th. A lot of positions gained for Bodie. He will finish 11th. Justin Laxton will finish 12th. Right behind him, Trevor Edwards. Brian Tedeschi from 20th to 14th. A lot of gainers right here in the middle part of the pack. Tedeschi 14th. Matt Rolfe will finish 15th. Involved in a lot of cautions, but still able to bring home a top 15. Jacob Harberts will finish 16th after starting officially on the pole, but with the mix-up that he had, the top 8 had, I don't believe he did start exactly on the pole, but however it was, he was the quickest in qualifying. Behind him, Daniel Pope and Dante Curtis 17th and 18th, and rounding out your top 20, Grant Brown and Colin Allman will be 19th and 20th.
And back in 21st, John Willett. Hey, he survived a rollover. Got home 21st. Not great, not pretty, but he at least finished this evening ahead of some drivers on the lead lap, those being Spencer Dickinson, Steele Langford, Josh Cottle, and Blake Massengill. Stenjum credited with 1 lap down in 26th, and then a few drivers that retired early. Tucker, Parrish, Hamilton, and Traves to complete your 30-car field this evening. Let's go ahead and bring in our top 3 drivers tonight. I'd imagine a couple of them will have a lot to say, but we'll, of course, lead off with our race winner, Tracy Petter. I believe this is the first time I'm bringing in Tracy Petter as a race winner, and this has got to feel so good. We learned mid-broadcast you're Mr. Oswego, and boy, did it pay off.
Yeah, it did pay off. When I seen it was Oswego, I was pretty happy being the only one that has Oswego as their home track.
Clearly, you've got some experience here. I'm sure you were jumping for joy when this thing released in the sim, and probably equally as much when you saw the session was built for Oswego tonight. But what's the challenge like still? I mean, do you have an Oswego set just laying around, or did you have to cobble something together?
I had one sitting around, just a couple changes for the weather, and that was really it. We really focused more on Q.
And of course, 120 laps led over guys like Alex McCullum, Kyle Turzak, and Mitch Runowski, and everybody else there. That's an impressive run. Obviously, the metric to put you up front at the beginning of the race certainly helped, but you had to drive your tail off. What was the pressure like?
Early on, it was pretty easy, just kind of saving some tire. But once McCollum got there, he was putting the heat on. He was definitely making me slightly nervous. I don't know what that one call is going to be because I did slightly get into him in that one corner. Have to see what Matt calls up.
I believe Zach and I pretty much called it the cleanest bump we'd ever seen on iRacing. So if that's anything to hang your hat on, regardless of the result, it was at least very, very clean. And if you're going to have a bump be clean, I suppose that's the way to do it. But regardless, Tracy, it's good to talk to you. Congratulations on what, at least for now, is the win. And hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for broadcasting, and I have to shout out the EPI guys for helping out. We had a wicked good car tonight.
Clearly that setup can make some big speed here at Oswego. Congratulations again, Tracy. A big win here this evening at your home track. Moving on down to second place, though, we will grab somebody from nearby New Jersey. It's not quite New York, and you probably prefer it that way, Alex. Second place tonight. A big battle this evening with Tracy Petter back and forth. What was that like?
It wasn't too bad. She kind of gave me fair chance to actually race him instead of him driving through my left rear, but I get it. He's trying to go for the win. I'm trying to go for the win, but the track's so tight, so you gotta obviously hold that person down and try to get advantage off the corner, which I feel like I did, but he kind of just drove in there a little too deep and just slid me up the track. But overall, I think really good night. Our car was super fast for a track that you can't really pass at, so bummer we came up one spot short, but hey, you can't win them all.
And I mean, this will certainly keep you at the top of the standings, and the championship is coming up quickly. New Smyrna, a mystery race, and then Southern National. How do you feel about these three? Obviously, it's hard to say how you feel about the sixth mystery race of the season, but at least for New Smyrna, Southern National, how do you feel about your package there?
I feel like New Smyrna is like my five flag, so I feel really good. And then Southern National, I also feel really good about. So I'm gonna be missing the next mystery night because I'll be down in Florida. So I needed a really good points night tonight, and I'm gonna have to get a good points week next week and see what we can do with me missing one more race.
I forgot about Winter Nationals coming up soon. Well, Alex, I guess I've got the wrong graphic on there. So let's get your time in the sun. There we go. I got to say, solid night for you. I know you had to come from the back of the invert, more or less, and race your way through. Got a few laps led. It's good to check in with you. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Thank you. I got to thank everyone at BMP for all the work and all the work Jacob, Dante, Blake, everybody, all those boys that put into this. So the results are starting to show. We had a really rough season in the beginning, but I think our new package is rolling really well. So this is our third time on this package, and it's won the last two and second tonight. So can't complain.
There you go, Alex McCullum with a big night here still at Oswego. And we'll move on down to third place this evening. I'd imagine this driver might have a little more to say. Mitch Jurnowski with a third place effort here this evening. It does complete a couple of different Open Trailer Mafia cars on the podium for you guys as an organization, but let's get right to it. You versus Kyle Terzak, what's your side of that?
I mean, that's just Terzak for you. I mean, I don't really try to race anyone dirty, but, you know, I think he was probably a little bit better than me there on that long run. And, you know, you guys saw it. He just got to me, run right through me. And then when I was up top, I tried giving him room on the bottom too, and he would just wash me up. I'd clear him, he'd run right back through me again. And then there at the end, I just tried crossing him up to get to the line and beat him. And I don't know, I guess I got into him, but I wasn't really trying to. I just wanted to get under him coming to the line. I knew I had no shot at second. So I don't really think I had any reason to wreck him, figuring he'd probably be getting a penalty anyway. So that's just Turk for you. What are you going to do?
And, I mean, I've gone to bat multiple times for Kyle. I think I would say he even used you up a good bit. I think you kind of used him back pretty fairly. Obviously, the series, though, cracks down on this kind of racing. So, from your side, knowing some different penalties that have been out there before, what are you expecting out of this?
You know, I'm not sure. That's not for me to decide. If they want to give him one, then great. If they want to give both of us one or just me, I don't care. You know, I just show up and race, and you know, I'm not there to wreck anyone. I'm just there to put the car in the best spot it can be. And, you know, like I said, that's how he races all the time. I'm not going to stoop to his level. I just wanted to beat him to the line. Like I said, don't really feel like I had any reason to wreck him, considering he probably was getting, you know, a penalty for everything he did. And, you know, this isn't his first time or his last running into people. So he wanted to come and mouth off to all of us, you know, even though he ain't in here talking. But it is what it is. We'll come back next week and see if we can get another good finish.
It's a respectable viewpoint for sure. New Smyrna next up, and clearly if EPI / Open Trailer Mafia have a good car here at Oswego, there's at least something to build on for the other tracks coming up. What's your outlook there for New Smyrna and beyond?
Yeah, I like Smyrna a lot. I think, you know, me and Tracy for sure, you know, love that track, the super lates, the mods, everything that runs there. And I think we got a good piece there already, and we'll tune up for it for next week. And hopefully one of us can go pick up another win. And, you know, he got one this week, so end of the day, all this other stuff, that don't matter. I'm just happy for him to finally get one, and couldn't have been at a better track for him.
Big night for Mitch Jurnowski and Tracy Petter alike. Congratulations, Mitch. Good to talk to you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Definitely some feelings, and that's fair. It's short track racing. I don't fault anybody for having some feelings and opinions. That's part of it. We're all going to have our opinion. We're all entitled to it. What's going to matter is midweek when it comes down to penalties for these drivers. I think there's going to be a few. So I definitely would keep an eye out on racesara.com for some more information very soon on penalties. I do think there's going to be a couple out of this one. But that's the way short track racing goes. It was a good night of racing here, I got to say, for Oswego, and looking forward to what's next for these guys. New Smyrna, we know we're going next up for February 5th. We know that's a track these guys are a lot of fun to watch at. And then Southern National will cap things off for the championship with a mystery round in between. It could be anywhere, anything for these drivers in that 6th mystery round of the season for the Privateer Race Products Mystery Night. Who knows where we're going on February the 12th. But for what's upcoming for us here at the channel, actually, without further ado, we can go ahead. We can award, actually, the driver of the day. And it is going to be to, let's find him. Hang on, he's in here somewhere. He got sent way back in some of those later crashes. Riley Stenjum ends up getting the vote. I'm a little surprised by this. I thought it might go to the Petter or Jurnowski, but boy, that is a really cool thing to see for Riley Stenjum at the very least. Not a great result at the end of it because of this off the corner, but boy, had a great run going at the very least for driver 77 this evening. Now we can go ahead and take a look at what's upcoming for us this week. The rest of the next week or so here at Pit Stop TV. Daytona for the All-American Racing Series. We've taken a look at this already. So All-American Racing League at Daytona coming up very soon. Then Michigan for the BRB Sundance Pro Series as they head out to begin their chase. And then the North American Racing League comes back around at Spa for the AM drivers. That should be a whole bunch of fun with another round of the SARA Super Series coming up soon. That'll be, of course, at New Smyrna. Thanks for watching this evening. It certainly is appreciated. A big thank you as well, once again, to our partners here with the series, All Pro Virtual League, Brown Racing Development, Brett Suggs Racing Media, Corey Bodie Motorsports, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, Dylan Bates Racing, Hyde's Pride Leather and Sheepskin, Hot Shot Photography, Impel Motorsports, how about International Short Track Association, Pedley's Garage Incorporated, Pierce Fleet Service, Privateer Race Products, RJ Williams Management, RS Center Trucking, Sarah Templates, SimRapMarket.com, the Association, and Trackside Threads. A big thank you as well to our partners here at the channel, Whiplash SimCams, MX Wraps, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. That will do it for us this evening from the Steel Palace. What a great way to get things done here this evening. Some controversy for sure, but it wouldn't be short track racing without it. If you're mad, that's just a product of the racing. Good to see some tempers certainly going after it this evening, is what it is. We'll see y'all next time for the SARA Pierce Fleet Service Super Series at New Smyrna.